Hey everybody, Mr. Berg here, and this is a little video about how to color. I know how to color. I colored in kindergarten. Well, I know that you learned how to color in kindergarten or even before, which is great. But coloring in artwork can make or break your work. You could do a really great drawing and then ruin it with bad coloring. We don't want that. Now, an example. This is not an example of good or bad. It's just an example of coloring. Now, in a previous video, I made this picture of my name, and I asked three of my kids, the baby can't color yet, three of my kids to color this in yesterday. My kids are 3 years old, and then there's two 6-year-olds. Okay? They did a decent job. You know, it's pretty good, but there's some random colors, and you probably can't see them, but there's some scribbling outside the lines and stuff like that. I would say it's pretty good for like a 3-year-old. I'm trying to get my 6-year-olds to color a little bit neater. Now, I'm not trying to insult you and say, you can't color, but you can. But you can also wreck something if you don't color it well. So, we're going to go back to this guy here that I did the other day. And I'm just going to color in this S here. Okay, and talk about this. Now, different types of media. Colored pencils, for example. If you're using colored pencils, some people will say, oh, I'm using colored pencils. I'll grab red, and they, color in the A, and they just go like this. I think you can see that, right, kind of? And it's a little bit far away, I understand that. But they kind of go outside the lines, and yeah. Okay, I'm not going to have you watch me color the whole thing. But, going a little closer here. See, it's a little sloppy, and do you see how there's like streaks of dark and light red in there from pressure? How hard you press down with colored pencils or crayons will change the value or the shade of the color. So when coloring something in, yeah, sometimes you might want light or dark shades of the same color, which you can achieve with pressure, but it just doesn't look neat, right? You can see the pencil marks. So what you want to do when using a colored pencil, we're going to make this snake over here kind of red, is I am not pressing very hard right now. And I'll zoom in on this in a second here. What I'm doing, it's probably actually, now that I'm looking at my monitor, it's kind of hard for you to see, is I'm trying to create even areas of color so there aren't streaks. And the way I'm doing that is by coloring with pretty light pressure. So if I go in, see how it's kind of even? There's some light and dark streaks, but I'm not done yet. And it's not very dark yet. Okay? Now, the cool thing about, if you start off light, you can always make something darker. But if you make it too dark, you can't really lighten stuff up. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go around the edge here and increase my pressure a little bit. I kind of went outside my border there. That was dumb. And what I'm doing is creating a darker value around the edge. You can kind of see that on the screen. But I don't want there to be like a visual line between my dark reds, or where I applied a lot of pressure, I was pressing down hard, and my lights. So I'm kind of going back over things. Now, this way of coloring takes more time, but it'll look better when you're done. Okay, this is also how you end up getting some three-dimensionality, right? I'm not going to keep going with that. Last thing, markers. People say, oh, I've used markers before. You just color things in. They grab a blue and they're like, cool, I want to make this S blue. Well, it looks like this marker's almost out. And they go like this and color in multiple directions and all this stuff. Really kind of sloppy. Wish that marker wasn't almost out of ink. That does not look... Good isn't the right word. It doesn't look neat. It doesn't look purposeful. It looks like you were told, hey, color that in. So you said, all right, I'll add color and color it in, and that's all you did. Let's try to find a better blue here. Yeah, it's a better blue. Let's go back to the snake here. So with marker, you have to realize that anytime you change direction, it's going to show like a streak or like a line in the pigment of the marker, the ink of the marker. Okay? So if I'm going to make this snake. Actually, I'm going to use green and do this kind of slime onto the snake. It works. So what I'm going to do is kind of intentionally, once again, I'm not going to take too long because, once again, it's just coloring. But with marker, you need to be a little intentional, which means you're doing things with a plan, you're doing things on purpose. You need to be intentional about the lines that you choose. Okay, if you just do like lines like this, that's fine. But if you overlap them too much, see, even right now, you can kind of see if I overlap things, you're able to see like light and dark spots in there. I also sometimes like to blend different colors of markers together. Some people don't like to do that because it ruins their markers. I like to do that because it's unique and it makes things kind of look interesting. Now, when using markers, you obviously have to stay inside the lines, sometimes changing the direction that you're working on. I'm going to show you in a second here. Okay, if we zoom in, which in this case is me picking up the camera, you can see those light and dark areas in the marker. What I'm going to do is kind of let that dry for a minute or so, and then, believe it or not, I'm going to take some colored pencil and go over that marker. You don't have to do this as well, and maybe you don't have colored pencils and markers, but I'm going to go over it just to kind of blend some things in. I might use a little bit of yellow to kind of add a little bit of an interesting texture on there. If you don't have markers and colored pencils, that's fine. I'm just showing you something you can do in order to enhance your coloring. So you did a pretty nice job coloring things in neatly. Now you can go back in and layer a couple different types of medium. Doing markers on top of colored pencils probably won't work. You can try it. So it looks decent. So, kind of bad, poor examples of coloring, kind of sloppy. This is getting there. I'm not going to bore you with watching me color even more. Hope that helps at all. If it doesn't, hopefully you stopped the video quite a while ago. See ya.